Thanks, Andrew. Is it just me, or am I mini-me to Andrew? Is it? Has anyone else noticed that? I'm feeling a little self-conscious. Fortunately, he's a good-looking guy, so I'll take it as a compliment. There's been some fantastic speeches tonight, and I'm always impressed whenever I come to an award ceremony such as this. And when the fire alarms went off a little bit earlier, I was a little bit relieved because it's actually drawn things out a little bit because John spoke so well. He was like Anthony Robbins and inspired everyone. I felt like going out and selling my next door neighbour's house, and it was just such a fantastic speech. And I thought, how am I going to follow that? So bear with me anyway. Thank you, John. What I wanted to just talk about just for a little while is just our journey. And I sound like a reality show person there, but our journey with the TasIVF team in the last few years, and in particularly the last year itself, and talking about how it's changed. And to start with, I'd like to ask you, so how do you stop the dream of running a successful small business from fading away? Or even worse, turning into a nightmare? I believe our story at TasIVF might help to at least provide some of the answers to that story. Because TasIVF started as a dream. It started as a dream of my brother-in-law, Bill Watkins, who wanted to establish the first IVF unit in Tasmania that was full-time. And that dream included making fertility treatment affordable, not just for the wealthy, but for everybody. Over many years, he built that business slowly but surely. And he built it to a point where he felt that he on his own couldn't build it anymore. He knew something else had to be done, but he wasn't quite sure what. Then he had a flash of brilliance. He realised he needed to bring in a full-time manager, and he knew that that manager needed to have experience, good looks, intelligence. I was an obvious choice, surely. Well, clearly I've exaggerated a couple of those points, I do admit. But what I did have was experience in management and experience in the private health industry. Bringing in a new manager with new experience, new ideas was a major change for the business. And it gave Bill the opportunity to change the direction of the business significantly. And so what did we do? And before I answer that, I'd give you a saying by the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu. If there's any Chinese in there, they might correct me on that. But if you don't change direction, you may end up where you're heading. If you don't change direction, you may end up where you're heading. And I think that's really important for all businesses, whether they're big or small, old or new, or struggling, or very successful. We didn't want to go where we were heading, which was slowly but surely. So we sat down and we focused not on what we were doing on a day-to-day basis, but we looked at where we wanted to be and what we wanted to do, and we identified where we needed to change and change direction. We completely revised our strategic plan. We completely revised our marketing plan. We aimed for growth and diversification, and we pushed and we pushed and we pushed. And we grew by 20% year on year on year. So we were living the dream. And then the Telstra Business Awards came along. And at the time, a lot of people said to us, why would a very successful company spend a lot of time, energy and resources on entering these awards? What was the upside to that? And there were three things. Firstly, the awards focused us again, particularly on what we were doing well, and what we weren't doing well. Secondly, it put us on the radar for people who, up until that point in time, hadn't realised just what we had been doing. And thirdly, it gave us a lot of confidence in what we had been doing. That was the right thing, and we were going in the right direction, and things were working well. We weren't growing slowly but surely. We were growing quite rapidly. Things were good. We'd planned for growth and we were getting lots of it. But at that point, little did we know that the winds of economic change were blowing in our direction. In the second half of last year, a potential nightmare threatened to disrail our dream. We'd invested heavily in doubling the size of our laboratory so we could cater for an ever-increasing patient demand. We had projected that patient demand would simply keep increasing. But we were wrong. For our customers, the changing economic conditions increased their uncertainty, increased their fear, and increased their doubt about the future. And even being the Telstra Business of the Year wasn't going to shelter us from that economic storm. What followed was not our usual 20% growth, but a 6% decline in new patients coming in the door. What followed was our newly expanded lab starting to feel like a millstone around our neck. And what followed were anxious days, sleepless nights, and the growing realisation that to sidestep trouble, we needed to reassess what we were doing, change what we were doing, adapt and reassess. So what did we change? We completely changed our marketing strategy. Traditionally, we'd focused on the doctors that referred us patients, and instead, we focused on engaging directly with our customers. The 1 in 6 patients in the community, or couples in the community, that struggle with fertility issues. We invested significantly in digital media, reinforced with a strong and active social media force. And did it work? Well, we didn't finish the year declining at 6%. We ended up finishing the year by growing 15% again. Census is now doing a case study on TasIVF as a successful social media marketing campaign. And the dream, I'm happy to say, is alive and well. But the point I make tonight is that no one can change what's happening in the world around you. You all have businesses. You can't change what's happening around you, but you can change how you respond to that changing environment around you. Whether your business is thriving or just surviving, whether you're living the dream or enduring a nightmare, your prosperity depends upon continually analysing your market, making adjustments, and being brave enough to change what you do when you need to. Change is your friend. Thank you for listening to me. You've been very patient. And I'd like to wish all the finalists tonight a very good luck.